When we look at the impermanent nature of all phenomena, we understand that all that goes up must eventually come down, and all that is built will eventually be torn down. We can build walls around us, but eventually those walls will have to come down. And I'm saying this because today is the anniversary of the fall of the Berlin Wall. And all we have to do is look at the pictures of that momentous event to recognize how much suffering that wall generated and how much joy its fall brought to many in Berlin and all over the world. I still remember the moment when I learned the news and glued myself to the television to see the images. I was incredibly happy and felt a great deal of gladness in my heart for the families and friends on both sides who were reunited on that day after 28 years of separation, because the wall was built in 1961, came down in 1989. And even though I was 5,582 miles away, I wish that I could have been there at that moment. I wish that I could have embraced the Berliners, both from East and West, and celebrated with them in person at the final closing event of the war, when the two Germanys were finally reunited. During its 28 years of existence, the wall became a symbol of oppression and despair, preventing the movement of East Germans and keeping them basically apart from the rest of the world. Sources say that 128 people, other sources say 171, lost their lives attempting to climb the wall, and many more were imprisoned. Yet, however joyful the fall of the wall was at the time, it also had a negative impact which we should recognize and be aware of, as some residents of East Berlin were not able to adapt to the capitalist and democratic society that were suddenly thrust into. Many lost their jobs and more. And so may we also recognize their suffering on this day. Today is also the anniversary of Kristallnacht, or the Night of Broken Glass, which marked in Germany the beginning of Hitler's final solution and the murder of millions of Jews during the Holocaust. On this night, in 1938, paramilitary forces and civilians throughout Nazi Germany ransacked Jewish businesses, homes, hospitals, and schools. Some estimates indicate that 30,000 Jewish men were arrested on this night and sent to concentration camps. And it's estimated that hundreds of Jews were killed on that night. So why am I bringing this up today on the anniversary of these two sad, well, one joyful and one sad event in history? Because those who don't know or understand history are condemned to repeat it. As this country grapples with the construction of a wall on the southern border, let's pause to remember the legacy of the Berlin Wall and reflect whether or not this new wall will bring the benefits touted by the current administration. Let's reflect whether or not the money that is being invested in this act of division will bring with it the happiness, long-term, enduring, that we seek. And let's reflect whether or not there may be another use for those funds that can actually help improve the life, the conditions, and the well-being of those who are in need, both in this country and elsewhere. As there are growing indications both in this country and abroad of a resurgence and increased intolerance for hate, racism, and anti-Semitism, let's keep our minds focused on loving kindness and equanimity. Let's really pull together to avoid the mistakes of the past. And let's work cooperatively so that history will not repeat itself.